Oh yeah. Actually, remember to send out a tweet this time. Hey, people joining already. How about that? Fire Dog, what's going on, buddy? How are you, man? By the way, tonight's drink is, shoot, what is this? This is the very last of the Michter's small batch that I got going on. Pity. Raza Muhin, I'm glad you're here. By the way, I feel like I'm totally saying your handle wrong, but if I am saying it right, I'm glad you're here. Remember, you are the one to remind me when I forget to switch scenes. I do not have a stream deck. It's all point and click, so you got to be one. Just keep me honest, man. Otherwise, I'm just gonna screw it up, and I'm gonna be on a browser all night, and you guys are gonna be like, "Hey, I can't see you." Rally security, what's going on? A couple streamed. I streamed. I know it will. I know it'll change my life. I just don't know how it's pronounced either. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a stream deck at some point in time, just for the sake of not even so much for convenience for me, because like I don't mind clicking a mouse, but I'm like it happens a half dozen times per stream where I'm like, hey, here's this thing that I'm doing over here, and it goes on for 5 minutes because I can't see the chat screen, and then somebody's like, hey, you need to switch scenes, and I always forget to do it. So hope you're all well. Yeah, I know. All right, dang it. All right, hold on. I'm going out to Amazon right now. Seriously, Amazon. Man, you guys talking me into spending money? Stream deck. You guys didn't come out here for me to. They're $249. You guys kidding me? 15 button deck. Haven't used in 2 years. Hit me up on Twitter. Thank you. Oh man. Rally, I will 100% take you up on that. Holy cow. All right, so mechanical keyboards. All right, we need to talk about that because mechanical keyboards, number one, changed my life. That is 100% true. I was using like the Apple keyboard for a while, and it just, I don't know. And here's the thing: like when you don't use when you've never used a mechanical keyboard, you have no idea what you're missing. Okay, so it's just like, standard type, clicky, clickly, and you're like, this is great. I can type, it's fine. And then I got my hand. I went out and I bought a DOS Pro 4. $150 keyboard. Okay, and I don't know anything about mechanical keyboards, but a DOS Pro 4 with Cherry MX Brown switches, I put my hands down this keyboard and I instantly started typing faster. This is no joke. Okay, and I'm like, I don't know anything about getting referrals from anything. This is just honestly what I did, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was one of the best experiences that I had as far as peripheral upgrades. And one of my big beliefs in terms of where you should spend money. Obviously, you should have, like if you work in tech, you should have a decent PC or a decent, laptop or something like that. But where I spend my money personally is anything that interacts with my body. So whether that's a good monitor. So for example, I'm looking at a Dell 38-inch ultra wide, a Dell Ultra Sharp ultra wide. If it's anything that interacts with my hands or like the chair that I'm sitting on or the headphones that I use, if it's interacting with my body, generally speaking, that's when I'll put the money out. So like when it comes to my lab equipment, I'm running on an old Dell R710 from, I don't know, 5, 6, 10 years ago. I don't even know. But anyways, yeah, I'm 100% gonna talk to you on Twitter, and I'll send you my address. You can send it to me. Although this could be an absolutely excellent troll, so maybe you'll have to send me. You'll have to give me something first before I send you my address. Because if that's a killer troll, bravo. How to troll a guy in security? Just offer him free gear, man. Here's an AWS coupon for, free T3 large servers for a month. Oh, that'd be the end. Okay. All right. So tonight we're going to build out an Arch, a free hacker stickers, 100%. We're going to build out an Arch virtual machine, and we're going to use Ansible in order to install some packages. Why Arch? I've harped on this before on my stream previously, but I'm just going to give you a really, really quick high level. So why Arch? Okay, so there are just a couple of reasons why I use Arch over Ubuntu. Hold on, got to read Rally's post here for the podcast, but I closed that down. Okay, all right, man. I'll hit you up for it. Why Arch though? So I used Ubuntu on my production, my daily driver for almost a year, and here's the thing, it works fine. Like I am not a purist when it comes to any distro. I'm not I'm not the kind of person to be like, you know what, if you don't use this, you're just a noob and you don't know anything about Linux. Like, that is just not who I am. Like, from my standpoint, use whatever works for you. Okay, so I was using Ubuntu, and here's the thing, it was working for me. Like, I didn't have, a whole lot of major problems for, Windows, because I do have to use things like Outlook and stuff like that. Microsoft Word, because, I'm a tester, and that's like 50% of my time is in Word. So, I was just using Virtualbox, and I still use Virtualbox. Works fine. All right, and so why did I switch? I switched my main driver from Ubuntu to Arch Linux, and I did it for two reasons. Number one, it's a rolling distribution instead of Ubuntu, which is like more of a static, or they have the Ubuntu LTS, the long-term distributions. Those are fine until you run into issues with the kernel, and when that happens, you have to use something like I forget the name, mirror something on Ubuntu, which will actually update the kernel. And if you're lucky, all the rest of your stuff is going to work. And that, it's okay. So for example, I have a PC. In my PC, I have a 1080 Ti for my graphics card, and I was having all kinds of just hideous issues with Cobalt Strike and Java and stuff like that. And the screen would flicker, and it was awful. So basically, and because Java's the worst, right? So anything Java related on my primary machine basically just borked all the time, and it looked like trash. And that I just couldn't deal with that. So a buddy of mine said, hey, you should consider upgrading to the latest kernel. And if you upgrade to the latest kernel, then you can update your video drivers and that kind of stuff. And so I did that. I forced a kernel upgrade on Ubuntu, and it worked fine. But here's the thing. Even though that worked, and it did, it worked just fine. I did the kernel upgrade, I did the video driver upgrade, it worked fine. Even though that worked, I still had like a ton of obscure PPAs, some dude's PPA like just installed in my box, and I found that I had a problem managing things centrally. And like every time I did, KJO, how's it going, man? Every time I did an apt upgrade or things like that, my GPG keys would be stale and stuff would get trashed, and I would have to start changing with my apt sources list and start monkeying with all those files. It was a huge pain. And so with Arch, you get a rolling distribution. So every time you do, in my case, pacman-syu, I'm not going to do it right now, but if I did that, that is one command that would update all the packages on my system to the latest, including the kernel. And so the big question there for a tester or somebody who works in IT or somebody who works in security is that what breaks? All right, all right. Hey, no judgment. All right, if you want to show me toxic, if you want to show me your box, I'll show you mine. I am showing you my box. So, anyways, if I were to do this right now, all my stuff would get upgraded, and like, generally speaking, like I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, this stuff's gonna break, and so far nothing's broken. So now, knock on wood, I mean, maybe someday something is gonna break, but seriously, upgrades are extremely simple. The other thing that is, there are two things that are amazing about Arch. I'm gonna switch off. I'm not gonna see chat flow because whenever I switch scenes, I can't see it because I don't know how to Twitch. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see my browser. And I have 3 tabs pulled up. These tabs are seriously the only ones you need. The Arch Linux Wiki, there is, and I'm not kidding, other than like Wikipedia, there is no documentation report. There is no Linux distribution that is as well documented as Arch. That this is not a joke. It's 100% true. I have never seen the documentation for Arch like I have seen here. So, I mean, seriously, all you have to do, installing Arch Linux, and chances are, here's the installation guide, very first hit. You get absolutely every single command, every gotcha that goes with every command, everything that you could possibly change or manipulate, and seriously, how to do all of it, all on the wiki site. Okay, and that's pretty cool. The second thing is that aside, yeah, the whole PPA stuff. So there are only two places that I've gone to install packages for Arch, and with a couple of exceptions. Those two places are the Arch official software repository and the Arch user repository. The Arch user repository is basically just user-based packages. It's not unlike PPAs. All right, so I mean, let's just be honest here. It's not unlike PPAs because somebody can package up anything and drop it into Arch. I am not entirely sure of the various ways that like code review or things like that go into it. Probably not a whole lot. So that is on the behest of the person running packages or installing packages from the Arch user repository, just like it is for Ubuntu. But the point is that you are getting pretty much a two-stop shop. You have the standard Arch package manager, and then you have the Arch user repository, and we'll be using both of them tonight. So there you go. Those are my two biggest reasons, honestly, and quite honestly, I have never looked back. I cannot. I seriously cannot see myself going back to Ubuntu after this. And here, like I said, don't get me wrong, Ubuntu's great, but I'm just not sure it's ever going to happen. Okay, so but here's Ubuntu isn't great, but the thing is that it's not horrible either. I mean, and here's the thing, like purists will be like, oh, you have to use Debian, or you have to use Gentoo, or I mean, that's okay. And I'm not saying that's you. All I'm saying is that generally speaking, when it comes to Linux, most distros kind of do, generally speaking, what you want them to do. I'm not going to come out and say, oh, well, 2021 is the year of the Linux desktop, but 2020 was the year of the Linux desktop for me, and so far it's been working great. So, but then again, everyone's use case is different, right? So, but anyways, let's actually talk about building out an Arch VM. So you are obviously going to need the Arch ISO. You can just just Google download Arch ISO and then grab the latest Arch ISO. In my Linux desktop is WSL2. You know what? You say that. I understand that WSL2 is apparently pretty cool, but why spend all your time in WSL2 when you can just spend all that time on an actual Linux distribution and not have to worry about any of that Microsoft telemetry? I don't have to worry about any of that, but I mean, if you guys want to do that, that's okay. I'm just gonna keep drinking. I'll just keep trolling everyone because that's fun. All right, so I'm gonna switch over to hold on. Switch scenes. Don't forget, switch scenes to Virtualbox. Okay. So all this is just a run-of-the-mill Arch Linux VM, and when you boot up, first of all, can you guys see the console over here? Like if I just give me an idea if you can see. You cannot see that. Too small. It's itty bitty. Okay, let's do this. So I'm not going to go through actually creating a VM. I'm going to go on a limb here and assume that everyone knows how to click New and set the storage controller to an ISO. So I'm going to close that, and let's see if I can make this a little bigger. Man, is that any better? Give me an idea if that's any better. Better. Okay. All right, good. Make the font bigger. I don't know how to do that. Hold on. There's no zoom in VirtualBox. That's the problem. Preferences. Let's see if I can sort this out. Display. Oh, hey. Okay. Hint. Oh, let's try this. Let's try this. 800 by 600. Does that work? Nope. That didn't work. And I'll give it one more shot, and then scale factor. Let's see if this changes anything. Nope, that didn't do it either. Okay. Well, here's the thing. We're not going to be in this view for too long. Okay. Once you boot up to the Arch Linux ISO, this is all you get. And if you can't see that, I do apologize. But all you're seeing is a root prompt. That's it. So it doesn't boot you into anything else other than a root prompt. This is intimidating if you've never used Arch, because there is a truckload of commands that you would otherwise have to run. And I'm talking, the one downside for Arch is that it's one of those distros where you don't get any help at all, other than the wiki. Like you have the wiki. Apparently there's a larger font size package you can install. I have Red Bandit. How's it going, buddy? I have never. I don't normally monkey with Virtualbox too much, just because it's Virtualbox and just kind of does what I want it to do. But I will, for next stream, I will get that going. But like I said, we're not going to be there that long. So a few things that you need to do from the outside is that you can follow the installation guide that I showed earlier for Arch Linux. It has a truckload of commands, seriously. The other thing that you can do, and this is what we are going to be doing, is using the, switch over to the browser, using the Arch Linux install script, or Alice for short. Nope, wrong one. This one right here. At least I think that's it. That's it. Where is the code? Okay, here we go. So Alice, the Arch Linux install script, basically just makes everything super easy. Okay, and this is what I use. This is what I use to build up my prod box. Works fine. Okay, so the thing that we need to pay attention to is this command, and let's see if I can. There we go. This command right here. And you pipe it to bash. I know what you're thinking, security people. I've looked at this script myself, and it just downloads a ton of other scripts. Okay, so on the Arch ISO, you really don't have a whole lot. You do not have a whole lot to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install, first of all, pacman-sy. We need to bring down the core packages. Pacman is just Arch's version of apt. Okay, so instead of using apt, we'll use pacman to install stuff. So I'm going to install with pacman-S. I'm going to install OpenSSH. I'm going to install Vim, and we'll just leave it at that. Okay. Download some stuff. Super proud of my country internet right now. I have a dual antennaed LTE connection going to T-Mobile. Took me a long time to get that set up. I'm very proud of that. Used to run an AT&T LTE. It was the worst. I'm talking like 4 meg down, 1 up. I don't even know how I got anything done. Okay, so now that we have OpenSSH installed, let's just show. Let's see if we have an IP address. We do, 192.168.2.118. So let's start OpenSSH, systemctl. Actually, first I need to set the root password. Let's set the root password to Arch, and then let's start systemctl start OpenSSH. Oops, SSHD. Okay, cool. And so now that we have that, let's head on back over to Slackware. Oh man, Diablo 2 for sure. I told my Diablo story a couple weeks ago. I'm not gonna repeat it. It was bad news. I got super embarrassed. Okay, so we should be able to SSH root at 192.168.2.118. Yes, and Arch. Cool. Okay. So now we have SSH'd over. Everything looks a little bit better. I assume you guys can see all that. So the long story short there is get off of the VirtualBox interface as quickly as you possibly can. And then what we're going to do is that command that I had showed you over on the Alice install page. We're going to, thought I was going to run that. And now things go wrong. I do have curl install. Yep, I do have curl. SS bit.ly. Do I have DNS? I do. Shoot. I think bit.ly is blocked on my firewall. Let's try going straight to this. Hey, there we go. Okay. All right. Now we can download a bunch of stuff. Okay. So when we download this, all we have here is a bunch of Alice scripts and a bunch of Alice conf files. The vast majority of these we're not going to use. We are going to use alice.sh and alice.conf. So vim alice.conf. If we take a look at that, alice.conf basically gives us everything that we can specify for configuration of an Arch VM, okay, or a production machine. So and when I say you have to specify everything, I'm talking like the keyboard language, the local time, NTP, all that. None of that is installed. You have to install all that stuff. Okay, and so Alice does all that for you by basically just turning this into a glorified list of parameters that you use and then pass into alice.sh. Okay, now we could simply configure that. However, I have an alice.conf file that I've already pushed out to my dotfiles repo. Dotfiles repo is linked in my Twitch profile, so you can see it there. But out in my dotfiles repo is alice.conf. And alice.conf is already pre-configured with stuff that works specifically for a VM. So if we, I'm going to copy that out there. Yeah, Tmux slickness. You missed were you on there for the first stream? The first stream was all about Tmux. So that was, oh man, Tmux is so good. I just use it all the time. Anyways, you just had the screen in half. If you guys aren't using, you guys need to be using Tmux. Oh wait, I forgot. You're using WSL2. I think maybe stuff like that works on Windows. I don't know. Maybe I don't even know. Does Windows even work? Like seriously? I mean, you know, aside from having to use Outlook and like Office Warrior stuff, you know. Anyways, so Riley, I'm just gonna be since you mentioned you use WSL2, I'm just gonna be trolling you now the whole time. So I have coworkers that refuse to use Linux and they all use WSL2, and well, I understand, teach their own. So I consider those opportunities for improvement. You know, everybody has the right, the God-given right to be wrong, and that's just fine. All right, so let's copy over. Let's go. Man, you guys made me lose my train of thought. Okay, we are going to dotfiles. Okay, and let's go to Alice, and there is my alice.conf specifically for VM. So scp alice.conf to root 192.168.2.118. Root, yeah, just like that. Yeah. All right, cool. And there's my alice.conf VM. So let's move that over, alice.conf.vm to alice.conf, then that, and now we can see what's going on here. So see, this bugs me. I should copy over my Vim file. It's almost like I can't even operate without my did Arch make their own glyph hacked font? I'm not sure what you're referring to. I must have missed something. Set number. Okay, so that's a little bit better. So, oh, the Arch logo on my prompt? No, my friend. That is Nerd Fonts. if you go out to Nerdfonts, you can get the Unicode version, and I have that in my ZSH terminal, theme. So, all right, hold on, detour. So then locate pi. I think it's pi theme. Is it pi dot? No, pi.zsh theme. Yeah, there we go. So let's have a look at user share themes pi. Okay, and there we go. So various prompts. I can't exactly cut to that in Vim, but it's the standard 2-character Unicode. So yeah, various just fun glyphs that make for a fun prompt. So anyways, okay. So in this particular conf file, I have pretty much everything specified. I'm going to change. Okay, so I have my user set down here. You can put in a password, and all these files get trashed after you're done actually building the image. However, just FYI, if someone is looking over your shoulder, the password is thrown in plain text on the screen. So when you actually run alice.sh. So bad OPSEC there, but in this case, we're just doing a VM, so I'm not entirely worried, but you know, just something for you to consider. And so we specify the time zone. In this case, I'm in the central time zone. And you can do all kinds of really, really cool stuff with this. So you can set an encrypted LUKS partition. You can install packages out of the gate. Generally speaking, I don't do that. However, I would strongly recommend, like, you save yourself some hassle. And by hassle, I'm talking the keyboard in Spanish for like an hour until you figure out why your keyboard locale setting is wrong. I would recommend you just grab the conf file from my dotfiles, because I already went through and made this a little bit more usable. So, but anyways, now that we have that, all we do is run alice.sh, and it grabs that particular conf file. So deletes all the partitions. That's fine. And now it wants passwords. So arch. Oops. Well, let's see. And there we go. Okay. Now, hopefully this doesn't trash the stream. I have decent upload, at least I think I do, but here we go. So if this trashes the stream, I apologize. So this thing, there is one caveat about running this, and that is that if these downloads break, the whole thing goes down. Okay, and that is problematic, because like you can get like 5-10 minutes into this thing, and if a download breaks because you have a crappy mirror, then you have to start all over. So another reason why I recommend that you go get the specific script that I'm using, which is alice.conf. Where do I have that? Okay, so this mirror, generally speaking, works pretty well. It took me a while to find a good mirror. Now, that's not to say this one doesn't have its problems, but in most of my testing, it's worked out pretty well. Watch it make a liar out of me now, but be sure that you choose a good mirror when you do stuff like this. And because not all mirrors are created equal, some mirrors just suck really hard. So, but anyways. $7:30. We're just about on target. My hope is to have this done by 8, because you all have other things to do, and I have other things to do. Trust my conf file, noobs. It's 100% true. You absolutely should trust my conf file. I wouldn't do that to you. I'm on the red team, not the I don't know, black team. Yeah. Cyberpunk. Seriously, do you play that like on the PC? I saw that. I'm a console player. I play it on Xbox. So I saw that got like Microsoft did a total refund for all Cyberpunk players on the Xbox. Does it work on PC? Like, I heard it's just super glitchy and stuff like that. Is it like worth playing? I don't know. I don't know. Glitchy but never crash. All right. I wonder if I can do that through. Shoot, I do not game on my machine. But man, hold on. What is the? I can never remember the Linux gaming thing. What is that? What? There's a really. Oh crap. I can't remember the. It's put out by Valve. Lutris is one, but I don't think that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, so Lutris isn't what I was thinking of. There's a. What's that thing that's put out by Valve? Valve. Let's Google. Google harder. Man. Begins with a P. Proton. That's what I want. Proton. So with Proton, you can, and this Proton is put out by Valve. That's pretty incredible. I don't know. They put out Proton, but for some reason they can't get out Half-Life 3. I don't get it. So, but in this case, for Proton, if you really want to get into Linux and want to game on it, Proton does I don't know. From what I understand, it's a pretty good job. A lot of this stuff seems pretty straightforward in terms of good games that you can play. I really got into Witcher Wild Hunt, which is just an absolutely fantastic game. Really got into Skyrim. There's just great games that you can play that apparently seem to work on Linux. I don't know. I hadn't really monkeyed with that too much, but how many cars did you find crashed into an overpass and stuck there? Gabe can't count to 3. Gabe can't count to 3. I have a feeling that you and I know each other somehow at KJO, and you're gonna have to disclose this to me. There's only one Gabe in my life, and I generally don't talk about him too much. So Windows is better for gaming. It's true. It's true. You get no fuss out of me. Gabe Newell, the owner of Valve. Gotcha. I have a friend named Gabe. I thought somehow maybe you were him or something. Half-Life 3. You know what? Seriously, does anyone even think Half-Life 3 is coming out? Did anyone play the what's it called? The Half-Life that Valve just released that was for VR. It's not Alex. It's yeah, that's it. That's it. Did anyone play that? My brother has VR, got super into it, went through the whole game, said it was absolutely out of this world. I tried VR once and I almost puked. So I don't know. Maybe VR isn't for me, but yeah, VR is expensive. That's 100% true. So I don't know. I've never quite gotten into it, but it seems like it'd be fun. Vuln research. Really? You do Vuln research on VR? Hack computer? That's really interesting. If you do that's fascinating. Oh man, joking. Dang it. You had me going too. Because like I for a living I do, red teaming and pen testing, and you think you get to a point in your career when you kind of know how to hack stuff, and then you read about guys who do cheats on like console or PC, and you realize these guys are writing like straight up 0 days. It's still happening. It's incredible to see some of the code and some of the things that guys who write cheats are doing, like cheat packs. That stuff is just out of this world, incredible. And I'm over here using crack map exec and Cobalt Strike, and I'm thinking I'm the shiz when these guys over here writing 0 days for Cyberpunk 2077. You're sending shells out somewhere you don't even know. My personal commentary on video games. Yeah, I'm still waiting for somebody to take me up on Division 2 on Xbox. If anyone games on Division 2, I'm ready. That's what I need. Are we still downloading? Yeah, we're downloading. All right. Downloading Linux. Here we go. Hopefully this doesn't crash, because if it does, I'm going to have to... Hey, cool. It worked. PS4. Yeah, I hear you. I've been on the Xbox Series X. I like Xbox. I hear nothing but good things about PS5. My son really wants a PS5, and that's what he's... I get texts because he doesn't have a credit card, so I'm the one with the credit card. So he comes to me and he's like, "Dad," he's got his money saved up, and he's like, "Dad, there's today this happened like a half dozen times. Dad, you have to go to GameStop right now." So I go to GameStop, and there's this bundle, and I'm like, "Yeah, I know. It's all about the exclusives, right?" So I tell him, like, I have an Xbox One, so I have an Xbox One downstairs that my kids use, and I have an Xbox Series X that I use, and I'm like, "Just get on Xbox. We can game together." And he's like, "I want the PS5," and I'm like, I understand, I get it. So, but every time something drops, because he's in a Discord channel that's just monitoring all the PS5 drops, and every time it happens, he's like, "Dad, go to Best Buy right now." And I'm like, "Kid, I'm on the phone with a client," and he's like, "Best Buy right now." He like loses his mind. Hillbilly story time? Get out of here. Welcome. I know you. And you know what? So I'm right there with you when it comes to like the last console being the Wii. I totally hear that, because for years and years I played exclusively on PC, and I thought console players were just turds. And I'm like, who cares about your stupid, GoldenEye on N64? Nobody cares about that. And I just dogged him the whole time. And then I grew up and I realized, hey, wait a second, I can have my primary computer do one thing, and I can have this whole separate computer for doing games. And that's exactly what I did, and it's been fantastic. So now I have the Series X on my desk right over here, and I have my primary monitor over here, and yeah. Well, thanks for stopping by, buddy. I hope you're well. Hope things are good with the fam. Switch update happens. So what's the new Switch update? Is that the Switch Pro? That's what I've heard. When are we doing a woodworking stream? My friend. Oh man, you're speaking my language. I need a decent camera, and then I would totally do a woodworking stream. Like the one I have is just, I have a decent camera monitor to the top of my monitor, but I don't have a decent camera for streaming, like actual woodworking stuff. But I don't, like, that's the kind of thing where I don't know if people would really be interested in blending worlds like that. I mean, maybe they would. Like, if you guys want to see me, like, walk out, like, cut a tree down, like, buck it up and then split it on a splitter and stack it, like, is that really interesting to people? I don't know. Like, that kind of stuff is really, I don't know. Yeah, you would. And here's the thing. I would watch your stream, too. Man, you guys want a woodworking stream? That blows me away. Yeah, see... Hack Computer rather sees cybersecurity, and with a name like Hack Computer, that makes sense to me. Okay? Like the sound of the screen upgrade. There generally is danger of losing a digit. My son is in his mid-teens, and downstairs I had him use the table saw for the first time he's finally tall enough, because when the table saw, it's all about height. You need to be able to look down the blade, because I don't run with a guard, and the reason why I don't use a guard on the table saw is because I have jigs that you run in the sliders on the table saw, and you can't have a guard on for that. And so you need a push stick, and you need the right amount of height so you can actually see the blade spinning at all times. And when you do that, it's pretty safe, as long as you're not stupid, with cutting like super thin strips without a push stick like I did the other day, and sent a piece flying into my abdomen. I left a decent welt. In fact, what was crazy is that I had a push stick on the piece, and it came back so fast out of the table saw that the push stick is what hit me. That was fun. Micro jig. No, I'm not clicking any links for jigs, I swear, because in chat, in chat right now, those guys drop stuff on to Amazon all the time, and I'm like, I can't do it, and then I click something, and then I buy, like my coworker posted Arch keycaps just the other day, and I'm like, these are amazing, and I bought them, and I'm not gonna get them for like 6 months because they haven't been made yet. And I'm like, what am I doing? This is what happens when people post cool stuff. Is I click it and I buy it. All right, so no, you're not gonna fish me. It's not gonna happen. But thank you for the props on the countertop. Yes, I know. I know about drop. Hang on. Does this work? This is the control. I have the chroma. Hold on. Chroma. There we go. We'll switch it to red. There we go. So this is the Control Alt from drop. Made my face all red. Hang on. Okay, so I have the Control Alt from drop, which I really like. And I foobarred my camera. See, I told you, my camera's not. It's not the best camera. Okay, Arch is done. you guys got me on this whole tangent. See, I held up my camera and I screwed everything up. Hang on a second. I'm gonna go dark for a second. See if I can fix this. Does this work? Okay. Nope. We're back to red. I don't even know what happened. This. Hang on. Oh, I have an idea. I actually have a light. There we go. I don't know if that's better or worse, but it's worse for me, but maybe it's better for you. At least it's not Satan mode, because that's, yeah. That happened on my very first stream, and I was super irritated by it. Red for red team. 100% true. Okay. So, we have Arch installed. We still have all of our packages, and we're going to reboot. And let's take a look back at Virtual, because I actually do want to cover. Oh, shoot. You see what I forgot to do? Nope. Don't want to do that. I forgot to take out the media. Close that down. Power that off. Hang on a second. Virtualbox. Okay. Sorry, I'm removing the media. I'm going to have to rehook up my screen in a second. I realize you guys probably can't see anything. And taking out the storage and removing that, and then powering this back up, and then let's get the scene reconnected. Virtualbox 2, Virtualbox 1. Bear with me. I have to do OBS on the fly, and OBS on the fly is not my forte, especially after I've been drinking Nectars. But let's sort it out. Virtualbox Manager. There we go. Arch. And let's get rid of that. Can you guys see you later, Hillbilly Story Time? Thank you for the compliment. Miss you, buddy. Hope to see you soon. I don't know if actually. Hey, yeah, you guys can't see that. Okay. I'm just gonna. Can I just get rid of this? Let's get rid of this. Remove. Okay. Here we go. And the reason why I'm doing this, login as root. Okay. IP address show. Okay, my IP address changed. That's important to know. Now that I know that, let's get back to connection refused. Now that's interesting. Why do you think that would happen? Well, the reason that would happen is because even though I installed stuff previously, I'm now in a clean installation, an actual installation of Arch Linux, and nothing is there. So pacman s. Let's do a quick sync, and then let's install. I'm only going to install a few packages. Let's install Ansible. Let's install NeoVim. Let's install OpenSSH. Okay. And those are the only 3 things I'm going to use. And we're going to use Ansible to install everything else. See how cool that is? Just all the dependencies get installed. And I know that kind of happens with APT, but Pacman is just better. All right. Still installing. Let's go, Ansible. Take your own sweet time. Man. This is what happens when red teamers join the chat. I seriously just get trolled the whole time. And truthfully, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm in my element, and that's really all I do. And when I just oh man, hey, so we need to talk about that. We need Digital Psycho. That is a bad troll. There will always be esoterica for me, right, friend? Right? Okay. All right. Now that I have that installed, let's try. I did not start system ctl start sshd. Do I need to change root login? I probably do. Yes. So let's enable. Do not Google esoterica. You'd be like, what? Is that really what it is? The answer is probably. I'm just going to quick change. Here, I'll switch you guys over. I'm going to quick change etc shd.conf neo. Sorry, that would be nvim. No, neovim. No, it's nvim. It is nvim. There we go. Permit root login. So let's go to permit, get rid of that, prohibit, and yes. Systemctl. Can I get restart here? SHD? Yeah, let's try that. Let's try that. Hey, there we go. And we're in. Okay. So now that we have that going. Okay. I am going to try not to install. Greetings from Argent. Raybar! Oh, man. Holy cow. It's forever been since we talked. How are you doing? Smooth screen transitions. I miss you guys. Man, I truly want to come back. So Raybar is a friend from when I was in Peru speaking at B-Sides at B-Sides Peru and B-Sides Latin America, and we had a great time. Those pictures frequently pop up on my phone, and man, what just such great memories. So, anyways, I sincerely hope I can make it back soon. Okay. Anyways, so let's actually Ansible. Is Ansible installed? It is. Okay, so I have Ansible playbook. All right. So now that we have that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to SSH root. I'm going to have two SSH sessions going. 192.168.2.11. Is it 8 or 9? It's 9. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I wish I knew how to say the pleasure's all mine in Spanish. All I can say is gracias, because I know that. Don't see any of the keystrokes on the screen. Hold on. Shoot. Okay, so why is that? It looks correct to me. Switching to, do you see Arch right now? Stream Deck. I know. Okay, you see Stream Deck. Okay. All right, so you should see, hopefully you see the screen update now. So I have a split Timeout session going. Okay, cool. All right, so from now on, like I said, I'm not going to install anything else. And again, this is just bare Arch. Like I got nothing on this VM. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to vim actually, let's do it up here. Vim, let's call this arch build.yml, and that is going to be, let's do nvim arch build build.yml. Okay. And I don't have my dot files. I don't have, actually, that's a good reminder. I need my dot files. So let's copy over shfs root at 192.168 dot, actually, hold on, mounts arch, and let's sshfs root 192.168.2.11. It is 119, right? And then we'll just put this in root, and we're going to mount that to, okay. So now that I have that, I'm going to copy, where is my dot files? I'm going to copy JSON tools dot files, oops, to mounts arch. Okay, and then over here we have dot files. Good. Okay. So now that I have that, got my dot files all copied over because that's important, because we're gonna run into that a little bit later. Let's do some just basic Ansibling. Okay, in a YAML file, you kick off the YAML file with 3 hyphens at the top. That's generally just good form. You technically don't have to for Ansible. If you don't have it, it's not going to be the end of the world, but that's the way to do it. And then Ansible is written in the YAML language. I think it stands for YAML is not a markup language, or YAML. Yeah, I think it's something like that. But anyways, if you have not used YAML, it took me a while to get used to it. However, one of the more important things when it comes to YAML is understanding that spacing matters. Think Python. All right, so when you do indents, your indents all have to match. Very similar to Python. It's one of those things where I'm like, does it really need to be this way? But truthfully, honestly, I prefer something like YAML to something like JSON. And the reason being is because there's no stupid curly brackets at the beginning and at the end, with a couple of exceptions that I'll show you. It's generally just more of like a plain text thing, you know, in terms like more like, think WYSIWYG. It's easy to do lists, it's easy to do dictionaries, it's easy to do item collections. However, there is a big caveat when it comes to Ansible. Ansible is not a programming language. That's important to understand and wrap your head around, because if you're a scripter and you think to yourself, I'm just going to script out Ansible, you're not. That's not what happens. All Ansible is under the covers is Ansible is SSH plus Python. That's it. So you need a Python interpreter on your machine in order for Ansible to run. So Ansible is, I'm just going to give you a really high, like 30,000 foot view of Ansible. Ansible is essentially an agentless means of doing configuration management. So what you need is a controller machine, which in this case, the controller machine is the VM, and the target machine is also the VM. All right, so we're going to be setting everything to hosts, localhost, okay, because that's going to be our target. All right, and when it comes to installing stuff, generally speaking, we need to be root. Okay, so if we're using Pacman, we have to be root. So in Ansible, the way to do this is to use the become keyword, and we're going to set become to yes. Okay, and Ansible is basically going to sudo on our behalf, is what's going to happen. All right, what Ansible will do when you run it is it will gather a ton of what are called facts about a system, things like IP address, host name, volume information, free disk space, all kinds of stuff are gathered into what are called Ansible facts. YAML ain't markup language. Thank you. I knew it was something like that, but I quite honestly, that's the kind of stuff where I'm just like, congratulations on coming up with your recursive acronym. From my standpoint, I mean, YAML is fine, and the truth is that a lot of scripts and stuff like that use it, and it's great. It works, and it is straightforward. Again, once you get past the initial learning curve of getting the spacing right. Believe me, that is the worst part of using YAML, is understanding the spacing. Once you get the spacing right with like your tab stops and stuff like that, things get so much easier. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh yes, facts. In this case, we don't necessarily want to gather facts about the system every time we run this, because we're going to be running this a lot, okay, mostly for testing. So we're going to gather we're going to set gather facts to false. All right. And now this is the point where we may specify some variables. Okay. And you specify variables with the vars keyword. And in the vars keyword, you essentially have, this is where, see what's happening here? This is gonna bite me. Hang on a second. So I was not expecting this degree of pain. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy dotfiles and vim. Actually, make directory .config and vim. Yeah, is that where it is? And then let's copy dotfiles and vim. Man, do I really want to go down this road? Because this is actually part of the Ansibling. Let's not do that. Let's I think man pages aren't installed. Is it just man DB? Enter number. Let's do that. Time for suffering. Yeah, it's true. That's 100% true. I don't even know. I'm trying to decide how far I want to go into this without my vim file, because you know what? Let's just do this. Let's just do this. cat.files and vim init, and let's. Oh man, I don't have ZSH installed either. Ha. And vim. Okay. There is something specific that I want, which is it's tab stop, but there's a specific setting. Aha. Okay, right here. So file type set local, tab stop to set file type. Okay. Let's just do, did I save it? Arch build and vim. No, I don't even have my aliases or nothing copied over. Oh man, the pain is real. I have no alias, I have nothing. And vim arch build.yml. Okay. Let's do set tab stop equals 2. And then set there should be what am I looking for? I'm looking for, is it smart tab? Set smart tab. I'm just setting stuff at random now. Set tab stop. Yeah, see. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. I need to get this file type thing right, because otherwise that is not gonna work. Okay. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Yep. Let's grab these. And then let's nvim config nvim init.vim. Okay. Hey, there we go. Okay. So what I basically did there, yeah. There we go. Thank you. Edit arch build. Okay. All that I did there was, you know what? I appreciate that. I really do. That means a lot to me. Make me happy. All I did was I set it so that when I hit a new line in my YAML file specifically, it only does an indent of 2 spaces, and that is what these two things these two commands right down here do. By the way, those are in my init.vim file, which is also my .files. So interesting when it's something that I totally take for granted, and I'm forced to think to myself, how does this even work now? So I truly do feel bad for if you're just getting into Ansible, and in my case I'm using Vim. Like, you would be much better off to use Visual Studio Code. Don't tell anyone on the internet I said that, because I love Vim. But the thing is that when it comes to stuff like this can be painful if you have never just struggled with it before. And so you're watching me struggle with it, even though I'm very comfortable with Ansible and stuff like that. So, but in this case, here we are. All right, so let's set a couple of variables. Now these I'm setting arbitrarily. Okay, home JSON .files. I'm going to set a home directory, and you'll see why in a little bit. And I'm going to set a home user. Okay, again, these are all these names over here are arbitrary. Because I'm under the vars keyword, you can basically just name them whatever you want, and then we'll reference variables later in the playbook. Okay. All right. Now it comes time to install tasks. Tasks, we use the task keyword, and then for every task we give it a name. And this is one of the genuinely awesome things about Ansible, is that it's essentially self-documenting, because you give the task a name. And we're going to say something like installing core pacman packages. Okay, and then we call the pacman module. Well, how do I know what to do there? Okay, how do I know what modules to call and what modules do what? The truth is that for just about anything that you might need in Ansible, you can generally just do Ansible and then the word, and you will get the module to use. Okay, in this case, the pacman module, these are all of the properties that you set, and the values that you can set, and here are examples. Now, in this case, community general, we don't necessarily have to worry about that. We can simply just refer to it with the pacman keyword. Okay, manages packages with pacman, and here are the examples. And this right here, I just want to make sure you guys see my browser. Yeah, okay. This right here is honestly one of the best parts about Ansible, is that all of the modules come documented with multiple examples. This is fantastic. So zoom in here so you guys can see a little better. Okay, so if we just want to install any package from pacman, we simply choose the name, and this is Ansible's list syntax. Okay, so you can give a list of packages for pacman to install. You just do it one by line to keep things neat. And then you simply use the state parameter. And the state parameter says, what do we want to do here? And here are our choices: absent, latest, or present. And you can kind of guess. For reasons unknown to me, I cannot scroll. Anyways, there we go. Absent, state, or present. And in this case, you generally want to choose present for installation. Okay, so let's install a few packages. There are a couple of things in Arch that you pretty much just need to install. One of them, and they're basically aggregate packages, things that just wrap up various utilities that are useful to install. So, for example, base devil is one. Let's install. Let's see here, because we're hackers. Let's install screen. I don't like that backspace there. What else should we install? Let's install ZSH. Let's install ZSH syntax highlighting, because we're going to install our dot files. Let's install tmux. Let's install nmap. How about, I don't know, htop, tcp dump. I don't want the installation to go on forever, but you kind of get the idea. You can install code. You can install a desktop environment. I'm not going to install a desktop environment on this particular virtual machine. In this case, I am using i3 gaps. I'm using a tiling window manager. I'm not using a floating window manager, even though i3 can float. What that basically means is that, to show you for example, to show you my full desktop, this is what my full desktop looks like right now. If I bring up another terminal, I just simply hit Alt-Enter, and I have another terminal over here, which I can move around as I see fit. However, that's i3. The point of a tiling window manager is that you generally don't have to worry about windows overlapping windows, and it's really hard to keep track of things. I don't like any of that. Once I started using a tiling window manager, I never look back, ever. If I have to pull up like my Mac, like my laptop or something like that, as much as I love Mac, works great, I got Windows stacked on top of Windows, and it just drives me insane. I can't stand it. Okay, so tiling window managers is great. Now, you can use Ansible to install tiling window managers, or if you're just like if you want a full desktop environment, you can install GNOME, you can install KDE, you can install XFCE, you can install any desktop environment that you want. Okay, so I'm not going to install a desktop environment just because this is a demonstration. But in this case, the point here is really just to get you familiar with Ansible. All right, so we're going to install that. And then we're going to set the state to present. We are going to set update cache to true because we always want the latest. Now, in this case, I have become already set to yes. So it is essentially going to sudo for me, okay? However, there will be times when I have to essentially downgrade or switch to a different user. And again, we'll use the become keyword for that. In this case, I'm not going to do that. All right, here is where I'm going to give you a pro tip when it comes to Ansible. Always, always set tags for every task, every single task. And that is just with the tags keyword. We're going to set a tag, we're going to do install, and we're going to set a tag for packages, and we're going to set a tag for Pacman. Okay, why am I doing this? Well, let's say that I have multiple tasks that are related to an installation routine. I can set them all to install, even though this one might be the only one that's related to Pacman. Okay, so you can have multiple tags that you specify. And so we are going to save this. And now let's actually run it and see what kind of error we get. Ansible playbook build. Okay, so we run into our first error. Unexpected parameter type in the sequence, and it doesn't like tasks and it doesn't like name. Well, you should. Hosts. Let's have a look and see if I can figure this out. Now you guys get to watch me go through the pain. Pacman. I am missing the name keyword. And in fact, what I'm going to do is just in case this happens again, let's edit config and vim init. Save our changes. Edit that file. Let's add relative numbering. Let's add regular numbering. And then we'll close that buffer. Okay. So now that I've done this, I need to indent the next 8 lines. So that was just the number 8 followed by the greater than sign. That's what that looked like. Did that fix it? Let's give that a shot. Nope, didn't fix it. Error appears to be, but maybe elsewhere. Okay, conflicting action statements. All right, so in this case, what's happening is Ansible, so I was missing the name keyword. However, remember when I said that Ansible is dependent on space? Well, state and update cache are specific to Pacman because I have them at the same, we'll call this the same vertical as Pacman itself. It's treating this as different tasks, and I don't want that because state and update cache are part of Pacman, but they are not, they're part of Pacman. However, tags is part of the task. So I want to leave tags where it is and set state and update cache as part of the Pacman module by indenting them. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's save that and then let's run it. Okay. So now that we've gotten past that, now we're actually installing the core Ansible packages that I have. Any questions so far? Is anyone even still on the stream? Like, I'm not even, I can't see how many people are on it. So hopefully this is, I don't know, at the very least entertaining. Watch me having to struggle with the pain here. KJO, buddy, you're always here, and I love it. Okay. Toxic Flange. I know I should know you. 14 people, supposedly. All right. I should know your handle from somewhere. Forgive me if I don't. Hit me up on Twitter. I don't. Okay. All right. Okay. Now that we have that, so we should have those packages installed now. So what happens if I run tmux? Hey, there's tmux. Okay. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Now that we have that, let's see if we can do. Let's see if we can make some. How should we put this? Quality of life improvements. Okay. Because this is a VM, if I sudo, let's say a sudo vim, sudo nvim, didn't prompt me. Interesting. Oh, I'm already root. I haven't created a. I have created a user. However, I'm connected. Okay. This is interesting. So right now I'm connected as the root user, not as the user JSON. So when I'm connected to root, everything works great. However, we're actually going to run this as a regular user. So let's exit, and then let's connect. New Z shell. Okay, all right. So let's continue. No, I don't want any. I don't want any of this. Go away. Okay. All right, and we're connected as me. All right. So what I'm going to do up here is we're now going to copy this. Actually, let's move it. Move arch build to home JSON, and then we'll set the owner. Okay. So now that we have that, so if I sudo, it's going to prompt me. Okay. That's all well and good, except sometimes I don't want to be prompted, and I certainly don't want to be prompted on a virtual machine. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do the copy module and add some content to the sudoers file. Okay. And vim arch build. That was capital G to get to the very bottom of the file. O to insert a new line, and then, see what I'm missing? The init vimrc file that I created was for the root user. Let's make dir home JSON config and vim, and then let's copy my config file to home JSON.config and vim. Okay. And then what is tilde JSON? What is that? Permission denied. Interesting. I've never. I'm cd. If I go to, what is the, from, really? Interesting. I didn't know that. Well, today I learned. So the tilde just represents /home, and it just gets expanded to /home. Ah. I thought that tilde was the home for the home user. That's interesting. Today I learned. Thank you. Yeah, I had no idea. That's a first for me. Okay, So I copied config file to home JSON config and vim, and then let's see if I can use this trick. Cool. All right, and then let's exit out of that and go back into it. Okay, now I have my numbering squared away. Yeah, right? I didn't know that either. That's pretty cool. This is actually one of the best parts about displaying like commands and stuff like that. And I learned this on Twitter. Like if you want to learn something on Twitter, you don't write a blog post. You put out there some way that's wrong. This is just fantastic. Like you just like you throw a command out there that you're like, yeah, this works. And you just throw it out there, and then the silverbacks come out and they're like, that's you're doing this all wrong. And then if you're willing to be humble about it, you can learn all kinds of stuff. And I've had people correct me on my shabby tweets, my bad aliases and stuff like that. But I'm like, that's fantastic. I had no idea that you could Linux that way. You know, I've been doing it this way, and you're over here doing it this way, and this way's better, and that's great. So, all right. So we have that. We have our packages. Let's update our sudoers file. Do I have my? Yeah, I think that's right. Update sudoers. And I'm going to copy some content in, and I'm going to set that content to JSON all. And set the destination to etc sudoers d JSON. And then let's do tags sudo. Okay. So we saved our file, and now what we have is we have an update, a task that's set to a different tag, which is the sudo tag, and that's all we want to run. I don't want to install the packages again every time I do a simple test. So there's a couple of ways that we can go about this in Ansible world. We can either step through the playbook, or we can call our specific tags. So Ansible, I am running as root. So let's switch that. Let's exit and then connect over here as JSON. We will set this in a little bit. Okay. Ansible playbook arch build -- tags sudo. Okay. Failed to get information on a password is required. So in Ansible there is, and I can't remember what is there is a password to specify, or there is a command to specify the sudo password. Ask for privilege escalation password. We're getting close. Become. Somebody find it before me. Ask for connection password. That's not the sudo password. Where is it? Become method. Oh, you're gonna make me Google this. You're seriously gonna make me Google this. Ansible sudo password. Where is it? Where are you at? All right. User new. You know what? Let's just do. I think we can just do ask sudo pass. Yeah? Nope, not that. Ask become pass. That's it. That's probably what I said it was before. It's intended usage of home personal use host. Is the intended usage a home or yeah. So in this case, in this case, all I'm simply doing is I'm running in a VM. So is the no pass? You probably know way more Linux than I do. Is the no pass group? Is that I wonder if that comes installed by default. Is it just group? No pass? Is that there's no group command? Yeah. Yeah, you have to tell me what the group command is. I don't normally monkey with Linux groups too much, so I simply just modify the sudoers file specifically. So maybe that's a bad way of going about it, but in this case, so what did actually work? Define in sudoers. Okay, yeah. So what did now? Dang it. That's my Arch VM. Editor path. Yeah, I don't know how to change that either. You're coming up against my generic Linux, no nothingness is what's happening, because like these are commands that I run like once when I set up stuff. Is that just export editor user bin and vim? Yeah. No, it's not that. Export editor and vim sudo by sudo. Really? I don't think that's right. No export? Sorry. Editor. I'm typing commands from a rando on the internet. We'll see how this goes. Nvim. And then, oh, interesting. Oh, yeah, okay, all right. I gotcha. See. See? Canadian. And if you get it wrong, I can expect you to apologize, right? At least 3 times. Okay, post your solution. But anyways, what did happen? Okay, I was not prompted for a sudo password. So because cat etsy sudoers d oh man. Right. I really need to get ZSH up and running. Sudo ls. Okay, so sudo cat etsy sudoers d json. Okay, that's because that was actually written as part of the Ansible job. So that's good. And if that's your way of doing that, great. There are, I can tell you this, there are Ansible modules for modifying group memberships and modifying users and things like that. So this just happens to be the way that I personally go about it, and it works for me. So, but now that's done, let's install some packages from the Arch user repository. And the Arch user, and this is probably this is where we'll get for the end of tonight. I will throw this whole playbook into a gist, so you guys can monkey with it if that's your interest. Arch uses for the Arch Linux, or for the Arch user repository, it uses a helper. So Arch user repository helper. And there are a few different helpers. In this case, we're going to be using the helper called, where is it? Yay. Right here. This is going to be our helper. It works very, very similarly to Pacman in terms of syntax and stuff like that. It is written in Go, and generally speaking, I hate Go. However, you can simply just install it, and it works fine. However, man, now that I see this, now that I see one that's written in Python, I'm gonna have to give this one a shot. Pikaur. I'm gonna have to do that just based on principle, because I can't stand Yay. So you know what I'll have to do? I'll have to do like a timing test. Man, it bother me if Yay is faster. But Python, I know a little something about Python. But man, Go drives me insane. Yeah, you know what? All right, you can take your Go and you can just go get out of here. That's what I think you can do. Go's one of those things where once you get the environment up and running, like you can actually type go get, then it kind of works. And I will give you this: Go has speed on its side, that is for sure. However, I generally have a problem with things that require like a full like RVM or GVM, like to manage all your various environments. That kind of stuff, generally speaking, drives me crazy. So I'm a big fan of Python. Python works. Is it the fastest? No, but it's easy. Go is essentially. I really should keep my opinions to myself, but I'm not. I don't know. How do I want to put this delicately? Go is just hot trash. Like just man, it's just bad. Am I confusing Go with Ruby? All right, so Ruby is hands down worse, 100% worse. Like I won't touch Ruby with a 10-foot pole. Go. So lots of great utilities are in Go, but here's the thing. All right, here's how I know Go is bad. When it's time for me to go get something in Go, I go out to GitHub, I get the thing in Go. What do? I grab the release. Why? Because it's precompiled. All right, now I dig through the code and I make sure I know at least what I think I'm executing, but oh my gosh, Go is every time I run Go, I need to take a shower. Like I seriously run the command, I get up and I go get in the shower. And then I shower for 10 minutes. And then I come back, and by the time I get back, my Go command has failed. That's normally how this works. So I hope you're happy. All right. So let's install Yay. So we are installing some Go trash. Anyways, let's go install Yay. All right. What was I doing? I was installing Go stuff. I had no idea that Yay was written in Go. Name. Let's first we got to clone it. Okay. There are proper ways to install various helpers. And generally speaking, the way to properly install a helper in Arch is you get it from Git using the Git module, and then the Git module has a repo parameter, and we're going to go to https archlinux.org yay.git. Okay, and we're going to save that off to opt yay, and let's give it a specific tags yay. Okay. All right. Now that we have that, we have to prepare it by setting the user and group, and we'll set that to ourselves. Yay is very specific about needing to be run as the user. If you try and run it as root, it's gonna bark at you and it's gonna say no, this doesn't work, and so you have to run it as the user, which personally I'm a huge fan of. I think that's way better from a security standpoint. So let's prep Yay. Let's run a shell command. A shell command is exactly what you would think of as a shell command. You can set redirects, you can use ampersands, you can use all kinds of, very special characters, as opposed to the command module, which does not like things like redirects or piping to another command. If you have to pipe to another command or use things like slashes or stuff like that, generally speaking, the shell command is the better of the two. So we're going to set the owner to myself, opt yay. Okay, and then tags, also set that. And then let's install it. Now that we have it, we haven't actually installed it. Okay, now we'll actually use a command, make package, no confirm, and then specify SI. Alexander 4757, what's going on, man? On make package. So for the -- no confirm, this is important. And it actually took me a little bit to figure this out. The reason why this is important is, remember, you're running Ansible in the context of an automation configuration management utility, which means that if you are waiting for a confirmation, this can hang your script. Okay, and it's just going to say install yay. And it's just going to hang. And it's going to hang. And you're going to be like, why is my stuff not running? Well, that's because there's a confirmation dialog that you're not seeing behind the scenes. Okay, so we run no confirm. But I'm also going to show you a way to actually look for the confirmation and then select the confirmation. What if there is no -- no confirm and you have to choose an option in order to install something? Well, you use the expect module for that. We'll talk about that in a second. So, but for installing yay, the important thing is that we are not setting our become to yes. In other words, so we are basically turning off become. So become is set to yes at the top of the file up here. I set become to yes. Okay, so the entire script is going to essentially sudo itself. All right. However, down here, we are going to set become to false. All right, because it needs to run in the context of the current user. Let's give it some arguments. We're going to change directories into opt yay, and then we're going to set a tag. Okay? And then, oh shoot, it's yes, false. It should, become, it should be true. Sorry. At least I think it should be, yeah, it should be true. Sorry about that. No, you're right. So Ansible will accept yes, true, false, no. It'll accept all four, but it'll throw a warning at you saying, hey, you're kind of doing this wrong. So it won't stop you, won't error out. But good call. Thank you. Okay, so now that we have that, we have one more thing we have to do, and that is actually run it, because Yay is one of those programs that requires an initialization run before you actually start installing stuff. Like it's going to build out config directories, and it's going to build out various temp files and stuff like that. So we actually have to run it. Name run yay. Okay, and this is where expect comes in. The first time you run yay, it's going to try and download stuff, and it's going to prompt you. You sure you want to do this? And it's just going to hang there. Okay, there is no confirm. All right, it took me a while to figure this out. Okay, so we're going to run the expect command, and the command that we're going to run expect on is the yay command, because that's all we're running. You can specify like parameters here and stuff like that. All right, we're going to set a timeout for, say, 300 seconds. Responses. Okay, this is where you specify what you're waiting for. All right, so in this case, I'm looking for Y or N, and I'm going to choose Y. Okay, so I'm instructing Ansible to choose Y on my behalf. And this is one of those, like, Jason, how do you figure this out? Well, you figure this out by running through the various steps ahead of time and then being like, oh shoot, it's prompting me, what do I do? Well, I Google Ansible, how to select, how to auto choose in a prompt, and that's how you figure this out. There is no magic behind this. I mean, you can spend hours and hours reading the documentation, but until you get into this, you're just gonna have to fumble your way through it. That's how the learning process works. Okay, and then very important, we set become to false, and then we set our tag. Again, always set a tag. Thank me later, always set a tag. Okay, so we save that, and now we're only going to run Ansible playbook arch build, and then tags yay. Okay, our first error, failed to find required executable git in paths. Well, that's interesting. So what I need to do in this case is I forgot to install git. So let's install git with install. I should have git now, and I have git. Now we run yay. We're cloning it. Okay, next error. Okay, so we got, this is actually good. This is a good example. We got through the clone, we got through the prep. So we got through the clone, we got through the prep. Okay, now it's time to actually make the package. Okay, invalid option, no confirm. I see. See what I did there? I got a misspelling. That R is important. Okay, try it again. Okay, so we did the clone. Now, here's some Ansible stuff for you. Ansible is pretty well aware of things that have already been done, and it will look to see, it basically peeks ahead to see if hashes match up on files and things like that. And it's only going to go get what it needs. So in this case, green means the command ran successfully, but nothing was changed. Orange means the command ran successfully and something was changed. Red means what you would think, the command did not run and your script is bombed. Okay, so in this case, it did not, it noticed that yay was already there, but it did not download it again, which is kind of cool. It saves time. Okay, so it is installing yay. It's doing the make package on yay, which can take a little bit of time. That's very true. Red means you screwed something up, which may or may not be the case typically on the red team. I'm going to go with may not. Almost out of my Michter's single barrel. That's a little nerve-wracking. But install takes a while. I didn't think it took that long. Apparently it does. And then after we're done with that, we are going to, we'll see how long this takes. I had no idea it took that long, but she's still installing. Yes, it is. It is building from source. Because we're doing a standard git clone and then we're running make package, it is building from source. But it is Go, so I mean, this could take like ages, a long time. Who knows? I'm just here for the trolls, man. That's my big reason. So. Oh no. Module not found, p-expect. What do you mean? Please fail to import the required Python library. Do I have Python 3 installed? I do. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Module not found. No module named p-expect. Wow. Import p-expect. Okay. That's interesting. Do I have to install p-inspect? Oh dear. Well, that's interesting. I might just lost all keyboard. All right, let's get out of that and jump down here. 2.19. It is interesting and Go sucks. You know why? Because two things can be true at once. There you go. Logic pro tip for you, my friend. It has screw you from Python, though. That is 100% true. Do I need to install this? Pip install p-expect. I think it is pack. Nope. I'm using Ansible here. Python pip. Is that it? I think that's it. Python. Yeah, it should be. Is it pip? Yeah, it should be Python pip. I'm actually going to check the... I'm going to check the official repository. I think it's Python pip. Python package. Oh. Or download packages. That's what I wanted. Packages. There we go. Let's start with pip. Nope. Lots of packages with pip in there. Oh, here we go. Extra 01. Is it Python pip or Python 3 pip? I think it's just Python pip. I'm going to go with Python pip. Recommended tool for installing Python packages. Okay. Let's go with that. Save that. And then Ansible playbook. Arch build. Tags. Install. Get that package on there. Pip 3. There we go. Pip 3 is... I'm curious. You know what? Hold on a second. I might be thinking about this wrong. I wonder if Python expect is a package. Isn't Python expect? Python p-expect. That might be what I'm looking for. I'll bet you that's what I'm looking for. Well, how about that? Let's do Python p-expect. Save that. Run my playbook again. Install those packages. Python 3 import p-expect. Hey! And we're good to go there. Okay. So let's run our yay. Oh, man. Okay, good. It's already built. And now we're running it. Hey! Yay! And there's yay. And it's running, and we got nothing to do. Awesome. Okay, so now that we have yay installed, we're just gonna install a couple of packages, and then we'll see what you guys want to do for next stream. Because there is some shenanigans with yay. Oops. Get rid of that. Okay. So ideas for next stream is we can do more like my thought was doing a specific coding project that would be Python, obviously, because it's the best. So we would be doing Python, but we would be building it out in my thought was to build out a brute force utility. It's one that I built for work. I use it all the time, and it has some pretty neat additions that you don't have in tools like Medusa, or Medusa is like the only other one really that I use. So, but it has like automated timings, and it keeps track of passwords that you've tried, and it has session state and stuff like that. So that was one thing that I had a thought for. But if you guys have other thoughts you want to see, like infrastructure wise, or anything related to Vim or coding projects, I'm all for that. So drop your ideas in. Brute force. All right. If you got to vote, now's the time to vote. Because I figured that would probably take several weeks of getting through. It is fun. And the thing is that it involves setting up a lab. And so, you know, like I have a virtual machine that I use that has NTLM installed, like just a website that uses NTLM authentication. And we would just, you know, kind of fumble our way through the coding parts. I do have quite a bit of the code written, but I also think it would be a great, you know, exercise, because stream-wise, I don't know. Maybe you guys want Ansible that builds a virtual machine lab and configures the components. How long of a stream do you want, my friend? Because let me tell you something. I have a lot of Ansible, and I mean a lot. Like so much that I'm like partway into making an Ansible class. That would be like several days of just building Ansible playbooks. And so, yeah, right, exactly. So, I mean, we can do we could do a long stream that is just Ansible build out for, I have Ansible playbooks that build Cobalt Strike and C2 servers and redirectors and puts everything together into one big happy environment. And there's like all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, longer if I keep it. I know. See, the problem is that you're just so entertaining. What I need to do is move the chat to another window so I can actually watch. But see, if I did that, would you really even pay attention? Like if I didn't engage? I don't think you would. I would find that kind of boring. But anyways, let's install some packages. Again, if you have other ideas, drop them in. I will absolutely pay attention and take that under advisement. Install AUR packages. And then we're going to run a command. Is it no highlighting? Set highlighting. No. Shoot. I gotta cheat and go to my dotfiles. It's true. It would just be a YouTube video, which I still intend on doing, like 5-minute vids on like just quick ways to get set up with things like Tmux and Vim and stuff like that. But I mean that's the whole point of Twitch is the engagement, right? I mean you learn something, you get to engage, and the truth is that I would much rather do live streaming than YouTube videos because the teaching is I don't know, this scratches the itch for me a little bit, when it comes to engaging with other people and showing off cool stuff and having fun. And I don't know, I don't get to fly much anymore, so maybe I'm just bored, I guess. I don't so like I've made a few videos and I haven't pushed them up, but to give you a preview, I'm gonna the YouTube channel OnlyFans. You wish. The YouTube channel that I'm gonna start up is called Red Terminal, and that is essentially going to be terminal-based focused stuff like you're seeing, whether that's just tips and tricks for InfoSec, red team, blue team. I'm calling it red because red's better, but that's probably what it's gonna end up being because I actually chose Curious Jack, so I don't even think I've ever told anyone the reason why I came up with that handle. My name is not Jack. My name is Jason. It's always hilarious to me when people come up to me after a talk and they're like, "Hey, Jack," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, my name is not Jack." So, but the reason why I did that is because Curious was a handle from way back when I was a teenager. I used to go by a handle called Curious, and that was back when you could just choose like single words, for various free node forums, and I went by the handle Curious, and I've always liked that because it sums me up, in a pretty succinct way. I think I'm curious about a lot of things, and Curious Jack sounds way better than Curious Jason, and that's it. There's no craziness behind that. Yeah, rip free node. Yeah. So there you go. There's the story. I just got to figure out how to turn that highlighting off because it drives me nuts. Config and Vim highlight. Where you at? Oh, I probably have like a shortcut. No HL search. Set no HL. Is that it? HL search. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right. Add some of this to the curriculum. I'm really curious now. Man, every now and then you guys drop like these hints about, like who you are or who you might be. If I know you from Twitter somewhere, send me a DM because I'm really curious. Because like everyone on Twitch has different handles than they do on Twitter, except for Firedog. So clandestine. Oh, I know you. Yeah, you're in the back just lurking. All right, so no, I don't use Emacs for all the same reasons I don't use Go. Just kidding. Emacs is way better. However, I'm a Vim guy. Tech College. Okay. Yes, you did. I'm sorry. It's been 3 weeks. and I don't actually remember your real name. You'll have to tell me on Twitter. But I met a lot of people at tech colleges, and man, that was fun. Man, I need to get. I want to get back into like KJ. I want to get back into speaking like live. I can't do it virtually. I can't do it. I need to be able to see people. You know what I mean? Like, I need to be able to see their face. I need to be able to see a nod or a no or an eye shut because they're asleep. I need to be able to see this stuff. I've had people actually fall asleep in my talks. You have any idea how demoralizing that is as a speaker? So I actually talk louder. Like, I'll say something into the microphone, try and wake up the dudes. So, oh man, I need to stop engaging the peanut gallery. Hold on. So let's run a command to install Yay packages. Command Yay. Here we are back to no confirm needed. We are going, Yay will bring down dependencies if it needs the dependencies. And here's where we specify, here we go, watch this, the item. I did some fancy syntaxing with Ansible there, and that is the double mustache. The double mustache is Jinja syntax for a variable. In this case, we're going to specify variables. And the variable for this is, we're going to use the Ansible specialty of the Ansible special keyword of with items. Okay, and with items you can specify a list, and then what Ansible essentially does with this is it creates a loop. That's all it does. For each item in the list, run this command. That's really all it's doing. Yep, so let's install Brave, the Brave binary specifically. You can bring down the Brave package from Git and run that, or you can just install the Brave binary. So let's also, I'm not going to install too many because some of them can be quite large. Let's install Zoom and let's install Medusa. Okay, there are hacker utilities on the AUR. Not sure how much I trust them, but Medusa actually does run. So now with Yay, this is important. We have to run this as the current user. So remember, actually in Vim, I'm going to set a mark. I'm going to set a mark right here. I don't know if you remember how to do that in Vim, but that is M and then a letter. So MA is what I just typed. And then I can get back to that with apostrophe A. I can get back to that line. So if you remember, up here I set some variables. Okay, I set the home user and I set the home directory. We are going to use the home user keyword. And I'm going to jump back to my mark with apostrophe A. And then I'm going to set become user. And I could type JSON, but why do that when I have a variable set? Now, when specifying, and this is important when it comes to Ansible. This is another gotcha, okay? And this gotcha is about as important as the spacing gotcha in Ansible. When specifying a variable, actually, let me back up. Ansible treats everything by default as a string. Okay, I'm sorry, not Ansible, YAML. YAML treats just about everything by default as a string. So you can see I haven't wrapped anything in quotes, all right? Because it's just a string, start to finish. That's all it is, okay? And so there's no specialization, no special syntax when it comes to designating a string versus an int versus a double versus a float. Remember, this is not a programming language, okay? Even though you're going to be tempted to use it that way, it's not. And once you understand that it's not and treat it as though it's not, it's going to get easier, and you'll start to see some of the built-in limitations for which you might run like a Python wrapper, or something like, for example, when I hit a limitation of Ansible where I'm like, I really need some code to run here, what I'll do is I'll just wrap up a Python script or a shell script, drop the script onto the target host using Ansible, and then use Ansible to fire the script. Okay, so there are appropriate times to do that. All right, so again, Ansible is not a programming language. Don't treat it that way. What I was saying though is that YAML treats everything as a string. When it comes to variables, there is a big caveat, and here's the caveat: when you specify a variable at the end of a string, you do not have to put it in quotes. But when that variable comes at the beginning of when that variable starts off the string, you have to wrap it in quotes. This is a hard and fast rule when it comes to at least YAML that has Jinja in it. Jinja is just it's a templating engine, okay? But in this case, what I have here, line 5 versus 5 up. So right here versus down here, this is the example of when to wrap things in quotes, okay? So that's important. All right, so we're going to set our variable to become user, which in this case is just JSON. And then we're going to set tags. We're going to set a tag of AUR. Okay. One thing that I want to show you, and this will be it for the night. Okay, once we fire this off successfully, I think a 2-hour stream is pretty good. Okay, one thing that I did want to show you is I could just run tags AUR, but let's say that I have multiple tasks that have the AUR tag, and one of them bombs. And I'm like, well, do I want to run all those tasks again? Like I did with EA. Okay, I deliberately left it that way because when it comes to this, there's a better way of doing this. And that is, let's say I wanted to step through each individual task. Well, you can do that with steps. Okay, with a -- step. So in this case, we've done this, we've done all this, and now we're at install AUR packages. So if you type yes, or if you type Y, you'll be prompted for the next step, okay, if it completes successfully. If it bombs, it'll just bomb. All right, or you can type C for continue, which means just keep going. And that's exactly what we want to do. So we're going to install all of our various, AUR packages, and then we theoretically should have things like Brave and Zoom and stuff like that installed once we're done. And that really is how straightforward Ansible is. Now, the playbook that I have that I run for my virtual machines is a little more built out. We can keep going with that, next week and build out more. For example, installing LightDM, copying over my .files, installing ZSH, configuring tmux. All those are all things that I do with Vim, with Ansible. Because at the end of the day, I want a fully working system that uses Ansible, or that runs, and it just simply runs with automation. Now, the truth is that you do this once and you just save a snapshot, right? I mean, if it's a VM we're talking about, you save a snapshot. When it comes to building a production machine, I can build a production machine in 2 hours or less and have all the packages that I need. And by packages, I don't mean like major GUI apps, right? Anyone can install Brave. I'm talking about all those nitty-gritty little irritating dependencies that you don't know about, until you go to install something. You're like, this Python pip dependency isn't there. Well, now pexpect wasn't there, but now it will always be there because it's in my Ansible playbook. I will never forget about that again because it's in my Ansible playbook, and it's one of those things that's not going to bite me in the future. Like, it's that kind of stuff that just grates on you after a while when you're like, I just need to build a machine. That's all I want to do. I want to build a working machine, and I want it up and running now. Okay, so what do? You spend a day or longer building the machine and then saving a snapshot. Whereas with Ansible, you just build it once, you get it installed, and then you can refresh as often as you want. And then as I install new packages, I update my Ansible playbook. And that way I always have what I need on every single build. And that's really how it works. It really is that straightforward. So if you guys have other ideas, I'm just going to let this run. But in this case, what takes a long time is the installation of packages. It's not the script just runs, right? I go get coffee at this point, and I come back and I got a working machine. So, and you can get crazy with this in terms of things like building out the GUI and installing a desktop environment and stuff like that. So, if you guys want that, we can do that as well. I may continue that next week because I think a good stream would be working through some of the irritations with things like creating directories. Yeah, ZSH. Yeah. So installing ZSH is, I personally use ZSH. The latest in terminal, or the latest in shell sexiness, I think is the fish shell. I've heard really good things about it, but quite honestly, it's one of those things where it comes back to what I said before. Like, there are purists on every camp, on every side, right? There are people who say, you must use Bash or you don't love Linux. Well, who cares, right? Who cares? If you use ZSH and ZSH works for you like it works for me, use it and love it. It's great. ZSH has a ton of plugins. So I use ZSH and I configure with Ansible. And I copy my theme file over, and I copy my ZSHRC file over, and I copy all those things over using Ansible onto the VM. And so I log back in, and it's done. So again, if that is something that you guys would find interesting, feel free to just hit me up on Twitter. I'm very approachable online. I generally don't do a lot of social media outside of Twitter, but do a lot of stuff in Git and Kubernetes. All right, cool. Yeah, Kubernetes is. I finally got into Kubernetes on a test, and truthfully, I had not encountered it much, and I was blown away. Like, I went out and I watched Network Chuck's videos on Kubernetes. I had no idea how cool Kubernetes actually is. You can do some incredible stuff with it, and it's so simple and straightforward. With the kubectl command, boom, you just have a new environment. It's like it's just done. So, and there's some security stuff that comes along with that. That's even more fun. So, yeah, that stuff's pretty neat. So, anyways, you guys let me know what you're interested in, and we'll just build it out. So a lot of the stuff right now I have prepared, but in the future it's just gonna be me like winging stuff and flipping back and forth between like coding and Googling, because that's how coding works these days. So, otherwise, I think that's about it. I don't know if there's anything else any other topics you guys are interested in. Otherwise, I think maybe next week I'll finish up the Ansible stuff, and then we'll move on to the auto brute force stuff, which I think will be fun to dev up in Python. So that's all I got. Kubernetes stream. Dang. I mean, the problem is that I just don't know a lot about it. Like, it would just be me like fumbling around with installing it. So I hear good things about the AWS. What's it called? AWS has a Kubernetes like plugin or something like that. EKS. That's it. Yeah. So cool stuff. Well, anyways, you guys have been great. Thank you for engaging in chat, because it was just me talking to a screen. I'd probably just give up. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. It's always a ton of fun. And seriously, if we've never met before, hopefully we get to meet up someday. It's quite likely that I will be in Vegas this year for Black Hat. So if you guys actually plan on going to the conference live, drop me a note on Twitter. It'd be great to meet up. So anyways, I am going to sign off, and I wish you all a good night or a good morning, depending on where you live. Take care.